Mark is my newest best friend. I get about 5 texts from him a day. I have turned over my national database to him, and he'll say, all right, I need to call this person and try to find their contact info for you. An honor to be before you today. I want to start with two of my favorite women. One of my favorite women is a woman named Margaret Mead, right? Famous anthropologist. And her famous quote is this, one of my favorite of all time: never doubt that a band of thoughtful, determined citizens can change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. The only thing that ever has. So Mark, in his unwavering assiduousness, Tasha, all of you, Lisa, all of you doing this work, right? It matters. Another one of my favorite quotes is a woman named Margaret Chase, who was one of the early pioneers in the U.S. Senate, one of the first women to be elected in her own right, came from Maine, which has delivered more women to the U.S. Senate, interestingly enough, than any other state in the Union. Olympia Snowe, right? Susan Collins, who single-handedly bullied and made sure that the misbehaving boys of the 112th Senate that single-handedly downgraded the U.S. S&P credit rating for the first time in U.S. history because they couldn't agree on a budget. And so Susan Collins called up all her girlfriends who were Democrat and Republican, right? And they're the ones that forced the men to pass the budget. That was a Republican woman, Susan Collins. Well, from her state, Maine, is this amazing woman, Margaret Chase. Here's what Margaret had to say. Smears are to be expected and fought. Honor can only be earned, not bought. Right? So today I just want to end with a rallying cry. Please do not think that your efforts don't matter, because they matter enormously. And they're cumulative. If you're doing what you're doing in this wonderful social media age that we live in, you are inspiring others across the country. And I know, listening to Vanessa, right, from Pantsuit Nation, that we're kind of leading the charge in some ways in this region. And I want you to know that that is a tradition here. Look to the Moravians. The Moravians were one of the first communities to do what they did. And that formed the politics, it formed the culture of our region and our Commonwealth, founded by William Penn, who was a persecuted Quaker, who founded the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania so that persecuted individuals could have a safe place to live. Though that's our DNA as Pennsylvanians. That's our DNA in the Lehigh Valley. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, when I was honored to be the regional field director for America Coming Together back in the Bush-Kerry face-off, there's some young ones here, you might not remember that one, but remember that race. Oops, you mean that was another race where someone won the popular vote and the Electoral College went the other way? Yes, it was. But right here in the Lehigh Valley, I'm very proud to say, as the regional field director for America Coming Together, working with MoveOn.org, working with SEIU, working with Acorn before they were disgraced, we delivered the top performing swing region in the country here. I had the London Times, the Manchester Guardian, they were all in my office doing pieces. I had a documentary done about our work. Now, they liked me because I had an Irish name, Siobhan, right? Hey, a girl with an Irish name, cool, right? But when it came to election night, we were the top performing swing region in the country right here. And we delivered Pennsylvania for Kerry against all predictions. So I want you to know the DNA of our region is activism. The DNA of our region and our state is tolerance. The DNA of our country is standing up against authority and rebelling and making change. It's who each one of us are. It's what defines us. And no disrespect to Mark and the other men that are here, but very often it's women that deliver the day. Because very often it's women that are willing to do the hard, unrecognized work of day in, day out, not because they want political power, but because they want to see change. The U.S. is ranked 84th in the world in the number of women in elected office. We are currently behind Cuba and Afghanistan and Iraq. I just finished a hilarious tenure commuting from Allentown to Washington, D.C. for 5 years, where I was CEO of the oldest organization in the nation that helps get women elected, Republican and Democrat. And I had the honor of working directly with Olympia Snowe, directly with Susan Collins. I was one of the first calls that Elizabeth Warren got at Harvard to continue encourage her to run for the U.S. Senate. Nothing is as alarming as Gloria Steinem calling you on your cell phone. I dropped it the first time it happened, right? I was a regular on Megyn Kelly's show on Fox News, right? I was the Democratic voice on Fox News for years. But what I learned in my tenure there is a very important fact. Research shows men run, no disrespect to Mark and all the other wonderful men here, men run for office because they see it as a pathway to power. They see it as a career move. Women run because they want to change the world. And so today we have an opportunity to stand together and do the little bits that we can. Some of my little bits is just giving my phone over to Mark, right? That's my little bit, right? My little bit is running for mayor of my city of Allentown so that I can be part of the change that permanently makes sure that Pennsylvania never goes red ever again. And as the third largest city in the state of Pennsylvania, and quite frankly, under my leadership and others, we were the top performing county in the state and the top performing municipality in the state. We voted for Hillary at the same rates that we voted for Obama. And that's what I'll deliver as the next mayor of Allentown, right? So, of course, I would love to have your support, but that's not why we're here. We're here to encourage each other in fellowship, in sisterhood, with a few men that understand what we're doing, right? And help us in this work. But do not be discouraged. Do not feel like it doesn't matter. It matters a lot. And the thing I love most is seeing these two little girls here, and there's another young one that's here. Just yesterday, we had a women's brunch at our home, the historic Benner Mansion, the first and only bed and breakfast in the city of Allentown. And we had a woman there, African-American woman, who was there and said she was there as a teenager for the March on Washington. And she said to all the women that were there that were planning on going to Washington, now if you're planning on going to Washington, I'm going to Washington, right? She said, you don't know what you're going to find when you get there, just go. And look at what the March on Washington did for our nation. This matters. Every little bit, every second, every minute, every hour. And I agree, and I'm very encouraged, Tasha, by your voice that says, and Mark's, let's be conciliatory about this. There are things we can agree on. We can agree on the Constitution. And it's undeniable that Trump is no friend to women. I'm sorry. Right? And the CIA's investigation is undeniable. Right? The hijacking of our globally unique system of government to a foreign power's end? I don't think so. So we have some very strong things that we can reach across the aisle, come in an agreement, and even if we are not successful, that means we are catalyzed for what we need to do to end the gerrymandering that has distorted the electoral college process. That's the single biggest problem. It's gerrymandering, right? Remember, James Madison and Thomas Jefferson created the Electoral College in order to make sure that the popular vote couldn't elect a Trump. But now today, the opposite is happening. This is not what our founders intended. So now we need some corrective action. And Obama himself has pledged that once he steps down, gerrymandering is going to be his issue until he dies. So let us all work together. I encourage all of you, and please know that this fight will continue. You can always count on me to stand up and be heard. This is very important, and what you are doing is very patriotic. Our Constitution was created so exactly this would happen, so that our nation would continue to be strong, continue to grow, and continue to represent all of us with free speech and the right of free assembly. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.